Hello and welcome to the first episode of my Unity programming tutorial series. In this first series I will be teaching you guys how to create a 3D first-person shooter video game. So, the first thing you want to do is download Unity. I'm not going to show you how to do that in this video because it's recently had new updates which I don't really understand. So when you open Unity, you'll see something like this. This is the default view. I personally use a different layout, but you can drag the things around, make it however you want. So over here you have the scene view. In this view you can look around from all angles and move around different objects in your game. This is the game view where if you press the play button, your game will show up here. The game view is rendered from the main camera. You can't tell, but if I rotate it, if I rotate the camera, it rotates it. So, to create an object, go to your hierarchy, this area here. You can either click create or right click and create, and there's options here. So you're going to create. Let's start with just a simple cube to show how this works. You can see it rendered here in the game aim view, and in the scene view I can look around at different angles. So what exactly does this have? Mesh filter and mesh renderer are both components allowing it to show up in the game. You don't really want to mess with those at the moment, that's more advanced stuff. The box collider allows it to have physical interactions with other objects in your scene. You can see up here the transform. This determines its position, rotation, and scale on 3 different axes. So the first thing you're gonna want to do is save your scene. Hit Control S, or go to File Save, or go to File Save Scenes. Give it a name. Usually you'll want something like Play Scene or Level 1 if you're doing a leveled game. If you're doing like a role-playing game, you'll have different scenes for, like, say, a dungeon, a city. I'm just going to call this one Play Scene. You can see it here in my assets. And now we can essentially start programming. But first of all, let's get a little map set up. We're going to create 3D object plane. This is just a flat plane that you can use as the ground. 1 unit for its scale is 5 normal units. Let's make it 5 by 5. You see, that's a pretty good area for us to run around on. Now we want some colors in our scene, so let's create, right click in assets, create material. Let's name this ground. Now we have different options here, most of which you don't want to mess around with. Click on here and let's get a nice brown color. Put that on the ground. You can see it's kind of shiny. We don't really want that for this exact thing, so I'm going to turn both metallic and smoothness on 0. This albedo thingy, if you drag in an image, that will make that the texture, but we're not going to do that. We can also delete this cube. Make sure to save. Now let's create our character. We're gonna make him a capsule. A capsule is kind of like a bean thing. Raise that up to 0.5, so no, sorry, raise that up to 1, so it's just resting on the ground. Let's move it to the center. Oops. Move it to the center. It's already a good size. It doesn't need color since we're going to be in first person, but we want to be able to look down and see ourselves, so maybe we'll give it textures later on. I'm just going to add a few random cubes around. Drag it through the scene view, just so we can tell when we're walking around. Just see a bunch of stuff. Control C and Control V to copy them, or the shortcut is Control D. Yeah, through the hierarchy.
1 hour later.
Move the last one. Just here. Fine. And there we have our scene. Save. To clean up the hierarchy, I'm going to create an empty object that just have a position, and you can put things inside of these, so I'm going to put all these cubes in here. Now we want it to be first person, so we're going to put this main camera, which is, as you can see in the camera preview, is how the game renders. We're going to put this on the capsule and center it, so now the game view is from the point of view of the capsule. Let's just raise this up half a unit, 1 unit, so it seems like we're not midgets. Save, and now we begin our programming. Right click in the assets and hover over create C# script. We're going to name this one player controls. Press enter and then double click. It should open in Visual Studio or any other code program that you already have downloaded. Unity comes with Visual Studio, which I think is a very good program, but there's lots of others out there that you could use. Let's just wait for that to load. Okay, now that that's loaded, you can see creating a script for Unity already starts with all this. So what is this? Here are a few libraries for Unity that allow different things. You can see our class player controls is derivative of mono behavior, which includes a bunch of useful Unity things. I'm not going to get into classes right now, that's more advanced C# things. But as you can see, we have start and update. Start is when you run the game, this will already happen. Here you might want to set variables, maybe position the player, clear their inventory or something. Update is called once per frame, so every time the game updates, this will be called. You're going to use this for controls and all sorts of things that you want to be constantly checking for. So, what we want to do is this dot transform. We're getting a transform component of this object dot translate. This is a built-in function that moves the object by a vector 3. You see it takes in a vector 3 translation. Vector 3s are 3 values x, y, and z that are used as the coordinates in Unity. So we're going to pass in a new vector 3. We'll start with 0, 0, 0, 0. We're going to keep the y value on 0 for now because we don't want it flying up into the air. So we're going to pass in vector 3 e dot forward. This is just shorthand for writing a new vector 3 of 0, 0, 1, 1 on the z value being the forward direction. And then we're going to multiply this by time dot delta time, which is the time that has passed since the last frame, and then multiply this by 5. This will mean it moves 5 units per second. Now we might not want that to be a fixed value, so we're going to make a public float speed and pass that into here. And then so that it's not just constantly moving forward, we're going to multiply this all by input dot get axis and string name in vertical. This axis in the inputs is the up and down arrows, or W and S. So now if you press W, it's 1. If you press S, it's -1. Otherwise, it's 0. So you see this movement will be multiplied by whether or not you're pressing those keys. Now we go back into our editor and click on our capsule. Oh, we should give that a name actually. Wait for that to load. So we're gonna give that a name actually. Let's call it just player for now. Save as always. We can close this. And let's drag in the player controls component. Now you can see it's here attached to our game object. I'm gonna give it a speed of 3. And now if we click into here, we can see that I can move forward, I can move back. You can also see that it's very slow. Also, I'm going to move that up to 4. And as you can see, I can now move forward and backwards at a good speed. But the problem is I can't turn. I can only move forward and back. So let's implement that now. This dot transform, remember transform isn't just its position, you can also rotate it. So this also takes a vector 3. We only want to rotate it on the y-axis though, which is the turn. If I go to here, if I rotate the y-axis, you can see that's the rotation we want. So we're going to plus 0, 0, 0, and here add a semicolon. And here we're going to go, let's say about 90 degrees per second multiplied by time dot delta time multiplied by input dot get axis, and this time horizontal. The horizontal is the left and right arrows, or A and D. Now if we save that, go onto the player, you wait, and we should wait for that to compile. I'm not actually sure if that's the compiling. Actually edit that bit about waiting for compiling. And now, if we just click play, it should automatically switch to the game view. We can now turn around. The turning's a bit fast, but as you can see, we are moving. We have successfully created our first person moving script. In the next episode, we will be working on jumping and perhaps other things. And that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys another day. Goodbye.